What is restriction? What is restriction? If you open the computer and we look in Google, what is restriction? We understand that the restriction by using the five senses is not to do something, to keep it, to hold it, not to push or sometimes push. This is the restriction. This is what we defined it. Restrict, stop for a second, pause and wait. But is it really restriction? To understand the restriction, first of all, we have to understand what is consciousness. And what is it, consciousness? I am conscious of something. We say that every day. Let's say I go to the bank and I sign a contract. I'm going to buy a real estate and I need to sign the mortgage. So we say, I did that because I was conscious what I was doing. With consciousness, I signed the papers, I signed the agreement, I signed the contract. On the top of that, before I signed it, I went to the lawyer with whom I read this. On the top of that, I went to a different bank, to my friend who actually deals with these papers, and we all together work on these papers. And I understood every single word, and then I say, you know what, I signed this contract with my conscience. I was conscious of that. But why then? Why after a few years, few months, I need to sell this real estate? I need to sell, I'm not happy, or whatever. Why? If I did that with the consciousness coming from my soul, I need to know if this is proper for me or not. I need to know this. Why I was putting in so many troubles? Is that the consciousness? Is it I am conscious? How about another situation? Let's say we go for a date and we meet with this other person and we are so happy and our intentions are really deep and sincere and we really want to give and share. And the other person is really sincere, really wants to be with us. And we meet together and we love together and we make love together and we stay together and we live together in the same house. And then what? And then we split. Why is that? Why people do this? Why? If the intention from the deep of our heart was so good, why this happened? Why something wrong happened? If this is my soulmate, if this is my partner, and God actually put us together, should this end of this relationship be like that? Not at all. But we say, I was conscious of that and I'm not going to take the responsibility because it's not my fault anymore. I am the victim. What is going on? Is this a conscious? Is this conscious decision? So what is consciousness to start off? The best example I have ever heard is when a child, let's say 5 years old child, approaches you with the drawings and give it to you and say, listen, I made it for you. It doesn't matter if it's our child, our friend's child, or our neighbor's child. It doesn't matter. Do you need this? Do you need these drawings? Really? Do we need this? No. But you know what? But we take. We don't need, but we take. And you know what? And we feel happy that this child did this for us. We are happy. It's strange, isn't it? We take something which we don't need and we are happy. So who is the giver, who is the receiver? Well, using the five senses and all cameras which are on, we would say the child is the giver and we are the receiver. But it's not true. It's not true. This is the consciousness we are working on every day, which is not true. The giver, it's actually you, and the giver, it's the child. Because the child is also happy, and you are happy. It's jumping, going back. With our eyes, yes, there is only one giver and one receiver. But it's not true. It's not. So, this is the type of consciousness. But how about if we change the child into an adult, and the adult gives us something, I don't know, chocolates, bottle of wine, whatever that is. Do we still feel that we don't need that? And we feel that we are giving? Why we are suspicious right away? Why? When there is no child, that this person maybe wants something from us and try to bribe us in a sublimal way. Why? Because the child doesn't need the restriction yet. But from the certain age, it has to do it. If it doesn't do it and grows, then build in our consciousness blockages. And therefore, when the adult approaches us with chocolates, then we feel something we don't understand, because again, outside we see, look, he is giving, she is giving, I am receiving. It's not true. Maybe we are actually, by taking, maybe he is giving, but he is taking, or whatever. So our consciousness this example is totally different. It's different. So to understand now what is the restriction, we first of all had to figure it out, what is our consciousness. And if you don't know, then we cannot understand the restriction. So what is the restriction now? The restriction is the transformation of our doubt, our pain we have. This is the restriction. It's not that I should say, no, that's it, forget it about it. It stopped and everybody sees, oh, he didn't take. He didn't take, but he took inside. He took with his consciousness, like in the relationship, like in the bank. The restriction, it's the transformation on our pain, our fear, our anxieties we have in us. And we don't want to do it. We don't want to do it because we are afraid. Restriction, it's when we take the consciousness, now we know which kind of or type consciousness, and we transform the proper one. Why it's so important? Why restriction is so important? Because psychologists, not only them, doctors, scientists, they tell us 95% of our potential, it's still not developed. Where is it? Where is it then? How can we dig out this potential we have? How? Only by restriction. Only by restriction of our consciousness. The potential is not hide under the carpet. The potential is in us, but where about? In our consciousness. But if we don't know what is our consciousness, if we don't know what is the restriction, how do we know then how to find our potential? So it is worth thinking about it for a second and see, if you like it or not, how important the restriction is. All the best.